Hey everyone, I was just working on my trusty phone telling you to come to Iceland with us right now, right guys?
Yeah, that's where we're. That's where he was. We're not.
Oh, you're not? Okay.
Well, not physically,
we
but
could pretend we're in Iceland.
Yes.
yeah, the photos will definitely help. So
We're going to go there in spirit through your experience. We're going to be voyeurs, everyone, today. That's always
Cool.
fun, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So let's introduce our magazine journalist over here, Shade Foley.
Yep.
Yep.
I got to speak with Steve Rogers here. He spent
The adventurer.
It was his second trip to Iceland. He spent 2 weeks in June, photographing the countless waterfalls there.
They're so beautiful. We're going to show you some pictures.
Photographing them while the sun refused to go down, since it's above the Arctic Circle. It's pretty much perennial daylight during that time.
Crazy.
It's never really a sunset, it's kind of sun dips. It just kind of goes down a little bit and it gets about the darkness of a cloudy day.
Sounds beautiful. Okay, so you have fallen in love with
I
a
have.
place. Yeah. I'd rather be in Iceland. So tell us a little bit about you. Ellis asked me how to describe you, and I said, he's an adventurer.
Well, I've always had a bad case of wanderlust.
Me too.
I like to see new places, and I've been all over the United States, Canada, Mexico. Iceland a couple years ago was my first trip out of the country, and it came from seeing pictures of waterfalls like this. And I thought, I've got to go see that because I love waterfalls.
Why do you love waterfalls? I mean,
Well,
the obvious.
They're just so peaceful. I mean, I grew up around Chattanooga, so we're very blessed to have beautiful waterfalls all around us. And I shot all of those that I could find, and so I kind of started going to other places looking for waterfalls. And
There were so many that some of them weren't even named. The 40 or 50 foot ones were the small ones, and the locals just never bothered to even name them because there were so many, right?
yeah, it's funny. The first couple of days, you're driving along, and you see this 300-foot waterfall, and it's just amazing. So you stop and you take pictures of it. And then you realize you go down a quarter mile down the road, and there's another 300-foot waterfall that's just as beautiful.
Look at this.
And so
this is crazy.
you find a couple of days in, you're just driving past. Oh, it's only a 200-foot waterfall.
So, had you always wanted to go to Iceland? How did you make this decision? When did you take the first trip?
Well, I was actually going to go to New Zealand, which has also been a lifelong goal, and started pricing that trip out, and it was quite expensive. Through the miracle of Facebook, I started seeing on a site called Earth Porn these beautiful sites from all over the world.
Good name.
Yeah. And I kept seeing these sites and, check I like or I love or whatever. And then you find out they're all in Iceland.
Oh.
And so I thought, well, Iceland's got to be an expensive trip. And you look, and you can get to Iceland round trip for $500 or $600 then.
Can't believe that.
Yeah. So I went the first time last September.
Okay, I remember I saw you right before you left.
Yeah, that's
we were
right.
in Coolidge Park,
Yep,
right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So I went, fell in love with it the moment I left. I wanted to go back. Didn't know if I'd ever make it, but that's one of my favorites. But thought about it every day since, and just made it happen.
Yeah. So I can't stop looking at the pictures. We're going to show you more of those. But let's talk a little bit about your interview, what you guys can pick up in Get Out right here, and how you guys kind of connected and what you found interesting. And then there's some stories we couldn't include we're going to talk about.
Yeah, there was so much in our interview that I wanted to get in here, and I don't know. There was enough because we spoke for an hour and a half at least, and we definitely could have gone on for longer.
Oh, yeah.
And just from that hour and a half alone, I mean, there were 3 to 4 articles worth of just amazing stuff. I mean, just the cultural differences and just the strangeness and sort of otherness of Iceland compared to the United States. But you said there was never any you never felt out of place at all. The people you never felt really lost or out of place
or
at all.
isolated.
The people were wonderful. I talk so much about Iceland, the beauty of it, but just the people were what made it even more special. As I never met a person that wasn't willing to do whatever they could to help you out.
That's nice.
They're kind of sick of tourists, but you know, they were very friendly to me. Now I have friends there that I communicate with on a weekly basis that have now offered sailing expeditions when I go back.
Good friends.
Trips into the heart of Iceland on a 4x4 on the road. You can only get there that way.
Travel's great for making those long-time friends sometimes.
Some of my closest friends are people I've met randomly on the road from trips many years ago, especially in my dead tour days. So,
and the towns. I mean, you think of America, you think of a small town, you think of 10,000 people or so, but it was Seyðisfjörður on the eastern coast. I think it was a 700-person strong fishing village where you said you had it was the greatest pub in the world.
Yeah, part of traveling is finding those little hole in the walls. And that's what this place is. It's I came over this pass to shoot a waterfall, and it was getting late at night, so I decided I'll just go down into town and see what it's like. It was just a little fishing village, but I decided to camp. Beautiful campsite there. Got my camp set up, and then realized I'm hungry. I saw right across the street is the Cafe Lara, the pub and little place that makes the best lamb burgers you've ever had. And right next to that was a sushi place. I thought, maybe I'll figure something out to do here. So,
and where was this again?
A little town called Seyðisfjörður. It's on the northeast coast of Iceland.
Wow.
He'd spell it, but it would take longer than we have time
Gotcha.
for.
Okay.
I'll have to admit you have a great pronunciation.
I definitely included that. I had to look it up how to do the pronunciation for it, but
it's I don't know if he's watching out, but my friend Ivar, the owner of Cafe Lara, it's his birthday today. So.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's how
happy
birthday,
Facebook.
Ivar.
Yes.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Very cool.
You owe me a beer next time.
It was one of the only 3 places in Iceland that brewed their own beer or something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah, they make a beer, and it's called El Grillo, which is named after a ship that was sunk in the harbor there during World War II. So, learn a little bit about the country when you realize that the U.S. had been there up until I think 2006, had military bases there, and that's why the culture in Iceland is very open to English-speaking people. Pretty much everyone speaks English there. You can get a hot dog anywhere in the country, but it's a lamb dog, and it's wrapped in bacon.
Oh.
So it's. I haven't had hot dogs probably 20 years before I went there, and now I have one every night.
That's awesome.
It's hearty food above the Arctic Circle.
It is.
But it wasn't just the town. It wasn't just the towns with people. A big part of the trip was where there was basically no one.
That's what I do love about that. I've never been a big city fan. I want to go to Paris or London. I like just to be out in
peace.
In peace. I mean, it's funny because I've never been anywhere else on this planet that feels as much like another planet as Iceland. The whole country feels that way. But I do love going down just some of the random dirt roads and just to see where they go. There's one big road that essentially is a ring around the island, and just a little.
That's kind of a good shot of what you're talking about.
That was
being in peace. That
was a side. I drove down some dirt road, 2 or 3 kilometers. Found this little overview of the glacial lagoon here. There wasn't another soul there, and so this is back on my first trip when the sun did set.
Yeah, it did get dark, sure.
And so, but what's nice is you're so far north, even at that time of year, the sunsets last 2 or 3 hours.
Oh my gosh.
The sun's not going down, it's going more across the sky.
That's amazing.
And so I sat here and cooked my dinner and watched this beautiful sunset while I heard glaciers calve off into the lake.
Oh my gosh.
This saying right here, if you could hold that up.
Yeah.
I want to say that was the John Muir quote.
The John Muir,
translated, it was I think he just embarrassed us.
that happens when you're live, people. Yeah.
It's something to the effect of the mountain. Those mountains called and I went.
Yeah, that's right. The other quote was what and ultimately ended up getting into the article.
The one at the end of the
a good beginning makes a good ending.
I thought that. I heard a lot of people say that, and it took me a while to kind of grasp what they were saying in Icelandic, because it's not the easiest language in the world.
Yeah. Some of these waterfalls, I mean, they're just
massive.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it's not just. I mean, because we've got we've got Foster Falls relatively
Right.
nearby, but and people from hours away drive to Foster Falls, take photos. Oh, it's so amazing, and they're just. I mean, there's dozens.
it's
There's
amazing.
dozens in an area not even the size of Georgia,
Yeah.
because Iceland's not even that big.
It really just does look out of this world.
Yeah, most of these shots here are in the early part of the book are what's called the Golden Circle, which is if you're flying into Iceland, you have 3 or 4 days. You take the basically a big loop out of Reykjavik, and you can get some of the sights. You can kind of get a feel. You don't get out of the country into the country really, but these are the kind of things you'll see if you go just as a as a quick trip. I really think if you want to go there and actually explore Iceland, you need 2 weeks. Well,
Take some selfies.
got to prove that I was there.
Yeah, no, totally. We're all about that here. So speaking of strange things and out of this world type stuff, this didn't make the article, but you heard some whispering gnomes, and that's a thing in Iceland, right?
Icelanders definitely believe in fairies and gnomes, and
Elves.
there are elves, and there are museums for them.
Protective groups dedicated to preserving their habitats
There are.
too.
I think that's so cool. I do.
Well, you can see that when you go into the northwest part of the country, which is
There's a
the
big
most
peninsula.
remote. There's very few roads. The roads are very poor when you go there.
Okay.
And we've all seen it because if you've watched Game of Thrones and movies like that, that's where a lot of that is filmed. Mm-hmm. So it definitely, when you're there, it feels like I am someplace where
some crazy stuff
something
happens.
could
So
happen,
something supernatural, something like that.
Yeah, I've actually never been somewhere that where I felt that way. That's
Well,
I
I've heard
need
about
to do that.
Didn't put much
We all
stock
do.
into it, and then was driving across there one day trying to get to Isafjordur, and had my little experience with them, which is nothing really, but just when you got to the end, you kind of thought, oh yeah, that's right, I did just drive through the land of fairies and gnomes and elves. And
So what, like, you're driving by yourself during the day, or I guess it was light
it's
the whole
all day.
time. So yeah. So then what do you hear?
it's hard to describe. It's just like little slight whisperings you hear, just like
It's half power of suggestion, half.
It's like you don't need to concentrate on driving. Just look at the beautiful scenery. It's like
He tragically could not get a photo of them.
Yeah.
Did not.
They probably don't want photos of
Did
them.
did not find a photo of them.
Ghosts.
There are a lot of troll statues around.
Oh.
All around Iceland, even in the city of Reykjavik, and especially in the northwest, there's some statues that were built that they don't know really where they came from. There's no story behind them.
No
They're
origin.
just there.
They're just there.
And they're obviously ancient.
I love all of this.
Yeah, well,
so many interesting
people settled in
stories.
Iceland like in 1600 years ago.
Right. So there's gonna be a lot of things.
Yeah, they were just kind of on their own there for a while, not a whole lot of outside contact. So
I suppose it's the oldest
Awesome.
democracy in Parliament in the world. It was first
I didn't
established
know
in
that.
999.
yeah, it was at. I actually that ended up making it into one of the cut lines.
Okay.
Of Godafoss, God's Waterfall.
Godafoss, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'll just read it here. Oh, I I was gonna say I read it, and then I saw the leader's last name. Thorgir. Yeah, you can just that's
These
like just,
names on these folks
that's like seven.
are-
That's like 17 characters. Anyway,
Amazing.
it was the year 999 when I'm on a first name basis with him. When
Okay.
Thorgir
Okay.
brought the tribes of Iceland together and baptized them all in the name of Christianity, in front of what I described as a small Angel Falls wedged
Wow.
between Niagara Falls. Like it's, I'll hold it
Crazy.
up, but it's right
Beautiful.
here, and it's just. I mean, the history and the lore of some of these are outstanding.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's great about Iceland is, when I went there and took that picture, it's obviously right after sunset, that picture, and you can just camp right there. That's what about Iceland. You can camp pretty much
Can you
anywhere on the
imagine?
island.
Yeah,
I also love that there's no fences and signs say, do not get close, danger, danger.
you can
Iceland.
get as close as you want.
Yeah, it's like if you want to go and fall off, it's your choice,
And Iceland's name does not do it justice. There's so much green
Yeah.
so much in these photos.
Well, I've heard the story we were all taught in elementary school that Iceland was named Iceland to steer people away, where it was actually the nice, green place, where Greenland was the icy place. So
Then you do have some of this going on.
Yeah, the northern shore has definitely got some massive icebergs floating there.
Yeah. What's cool is they're tidal. So in the ocean, the tides come in and out. They come in and out of this lagoon. So you can see school bus sized glaciers just tumbling and rolling through the waves.
Insane.
It's pretty amazing.
That's insane.
Yeah,
Things
there's
you just never think
seals
you'll see.
and puffin and just I love the wildlife there. Every time I go, I see more. I saw reindeer for the first time in my life this year. I saw a huge herd of wild reindeer.
We were just talking about that.
Yeah, that's kind of the kind of thing that you really only see in Christmas, storybooks, that sort of thing. You don't ever expect to see a reindeer in real life.
No.
I remember one of the most interesting things that we had talked about was just how, especially for such a small country, how diverse the landscape was. You've got tree and moss covered landscape, and then 20 minutes down the road it would be the glacier would have carved a big swath of just rock into the world.
It's amazing sometimes. The glaciers will just literally scrape the earth clean as they move out to the ocean. Of course, they're all retreating now. And so you just see the remnants of it. It's just literally sometimes 2 or 3 kilometers, and it's just nothing bigger than a pebble. And scraped down to the bedrock. And then you can go right past that, and there'll be moss that's 12 inches thick.
Yeah.
I've never seen moss like that anywhere.
It's crazy, all these pictures. So let's talk about the pictures. There's so many pictures. So
he's a professional photographer. You've sold your work, so by definition, that's
Right.
professional.
So you took all of these pictures. You have these beautiful coffee table books that we're showing you, and then did you just do this for yourself?
Yeah, this is mainly for myself. And then this second trip, I actually got a little sponsorship from some of the local companies, and it was something nice I could take around to them and show them, hey, this is where I'm going. Would you like to see me here holding your mug or wearing your T-shirt?
Good idea.
So.
And then you came up with this baby.
Yeah, so every year I make a calendar of my favorite shots from the previous year, and
not necessarily Iceland.
Yeah, not necessarily Iceland. Actually, after I was in Iceland for 2 weeks, I went to Europe for 4 weeks after that.
You saw Vienna and
went to Amsterdam, and then flew into Vienna, Austria, and then basically drove west across the Alps through Austria, Liechtenstein, Switzerland, France, and back across the other side of the Alps in Italy.
How long were you gone in total?
I think 35 days or something like that. Nothing too major, just
nothing too major, just over a month.
It was fun. Pretty much a different spot every night. The only place I ever spent much time at all.
There's Switzerland.
Yeah, the Matterhorn.
Always want to go to Switzerland.
One of those places I never thought I would see, and next thing you know, I'm here.
It's amazing to have like a picnic, just
looking
up at that.
Is I'd planned to go the next day. I'd planned to go parasailing, something I'd always wanted to do.
Okay.
And it was going to be raining, so that was canceled. And so I went to the Matterhorn. I'm hiking up. Just shortly after I took this picture, I saw some people carrying their gear up, and so I asked if they minded if I joined them. And they were instructors during the day, and this was their last little run. And so they kind of gave me a little 15-minute demo on how to do it, and then we jumped off the mountain.
What a life! What a life!
I would be remiss if you had a feast in Reykjavik, and I would be remiss because we mentioned because we talked about how strange parts, some parts of Icelandic culture are compared to America. We brought up the elves and the fairies, and in that feast, you partook of hakarl, a food that is unique to Iceland.
It is. It goes back to for 1,000 years at least. It's a shark that has basically antifreeze in its system to keep it from freezing in the oceans up there.
Yum.
So it would kill you if you ate it, which is so somebody found out a long time ago.
It's so it's whale shark, which is one of the
it's a huge shark.
It's huge animal and one of the primary food sources for ancient Icelanders. And to preserve it through the bitter cold winters, they buried it in the sand in lye for 3 months or more. and
Yeah.
it has quite the odor.
Well, after that, after they pull it out of the ground, it's essentially rotten at that point.
Yeah.
So they cut up in about ham-sized pieces and put it on a big hook and hang it out in an open-air barn for another couple of months.
To dry it out, yeah.
To let dry, and then it kind of ferments. Then
Cures a bit, sure.
It's fermented, rotten shark.
Sounds.
It is.
Yeah.
It's widely regarded as one of the foulest smelling foods. It wasn't that bad to taste, though, was it?
No, the taste wasn't that bad. The smell, if you would like me to describe the smell, it's
Yeah, go ahead.
kind of like,
Without getting too gruesome.
well, just
It's okay, we can handle it.
Maybe a cat that took a little leak on some gym socks.
And then was
And then
left out.
let it
sure.
sit out in the sun for a couple hours, And they bring it out to the last course. It was part of I think a 9-course tasting menu had that night with whale and puffin and horse and elk and reindeer and all
Very
these
traditional.
good stuff.
Very traditional.
Very traditional. When you're in Iceland, you do as the Icelanders do.
Right.
Not that
When
anybody
in-
from Iceland actually
When in
eats that stuff.
Iceland.
Sure.
Yeah. So what do you eat?
Well, lots of cod.
Okay.
Cod,
that's good.
fish. You can get the best cod in the world.
Yeah, great. I'm sure.
Cod that was probably swimming in the ocean 2 or 3 hours
Yum.
before. Lots of lamb. A lot of
right.
cod, a lot of lamb.
The lamb dogs.
Probably next down is burgers, and a lot of the burgers are horse burgers, which
Well, yeah,
some people
it
don't.
bothers us, but I mean, cows don't do well above the Arctic Circle.
They
So.
don't.
Yeah, you had mentioned during our conversation in Sadis Theater you saw the fishing boat that was bringing in the catch for Cafe Laura like that day. Like you could see it just right offshore. They're like, oh yeah, there it is. Yeah, your dinner's coming. Basically.
I was waiting on some
amazing.
sushi that night, and they're
Yeah.
like, it's on you can look out the window and see them, like the chef, literally getting it off the boat.
And what's the cost like to eat there?
Relatively the same as going out here.
Okay.
It's just not. You'll pay $10-12 for a burger.
Okay. Yeah.
Nothing. Alcohol is extremely expensive.
Is it?
You'll pay $10-11 for a beer.
Why
There.
it's all imported?
Well, they have I think a 94% tax on alcohol
Okay.
there. Because alcohol wasn't even allowed until maybe a decade or so
Okay.
ago.
Yeah, it is,
You might want to keep your drinking to a minimum.
Yeah, duty-free shop.
they,
Always a way.
the other place they get you is the car rentals.
Yeah, the car rentals are, because Iceland is definitely tough on a vehicle. You can pretty much rent 3 types of vehicles. You can rent a tiny little subcompact car. You can rent a van, which is what I did. It's a camper van complete with
Yeah, I think
refrigerator
there
and
was a
stove and everything.
Picture of it.
Or you can rent a 4x4 if you want to get anywhere off of the main road.
Yeah, anywhere off. Yeah, because it's really just that one, and
Yeah.
it's a highway. But you said it was more of just like a 2-lane.
Yeah, it's
nothing
a
significant.
rough 2-lane road, and then actually, I'd say only probably 90% of it is paved.
Crazy.
You're driving along what is the major road through Iceland, and it just turns to dirt.
Just
so
turns
this
to gravel.
was not
For-
the vehicle, but what is that?
That is a DC-3 that I believe was a U.S. Navy plane that crashed there in, I think, the early 70s, and this is what is left of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Awesome.
it's not really in a position where it can be recovered, or if there's even any use to recovering it. So
Yeah.
it just
It's
sort
an
of
amazing
becomes,
sight, though.
yeah, it just becomes part of the
Yeah.
landscape.
And then this you kind of get a feel for how the moonscape is sometimes.
Yeah,
This is-
that's a glacier that's basically like dragged that bone dry,
in any direction, it's just flat and gravel.
and then 15 minutes later, you've got waterfalls and wildflowers, black sand beaches. I mean,
Yeah, the black
Yeah, look
sand
at
beaches.
this black sand beach. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Never
the,
seen anything
the
like
black
that.
sand. It's really nice. It's very fine sand, almost like a powder.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's really neat.
we haven't even gotten, because that's a result of geothermal activity. And we haven't even gotten to that as far as
Yeah.
Iceland's concerned. How many active volcanoes and how much active geothermal activity they have there.
Yeah, it's nice that they've embraced the geothermal, and pretty much everything there is heated with the geothermal. There's pretty much every town, no matter how small it is, has a public pool,
A hot spring, basically.
which is a hot spring
yeah.
pool, basically. So it's nice. You get in, it's
Oh, nice.
40 degrees C, which is 104 Fahrenheit. So for pretty much $3, you can get a nice swim and a shower and.
And there's you enjoying another day. Just hanging out.
Yeah, just woke up that morning and
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. Well, this will inspire many to hopefully take whatever sort of adventures
You've
they
tried
can.
to get some more people to go too, here locally.
Yeah, actually, I've become somewhat connected with Iceland, and several people have, through friends, have come to me and said, I'm thinking of going to Iceland. What would you recommend? And so I've had in the past year, I've helped, I guess, 4 groups of people that are going, kind of,
Oh, cool.
don't waste your time here. What do you want to do first? Do you want to see scenery? Do you want to see, what? So, yeah, it's helped several friends.
Because there's basically like a minimum amount of time if you want to just get the island experience, so to speak.
And what's nice too, if you're interested in going to Iceland, if you're planning on going to Europe at all, several airlines will give you a free layover.
Oh,
In
cool.
Reykjavik for up to 7 days.
How do you find out about that? Do you have to inquire, I would assume?
Yeah, well, I know Iceland Air does it and WOW Air, which are both based in Iceland, and
Okay.
also KLM does it.
Okay.
So that's how I basically
That's awesome.
made my trip to Europe after this. It was actually, Iceland was a layover, essentially,
Wow.
on the way to Europe.
Wow, that's great to know. Wow, look at these
Beautiful
beautiful
horses,
horses. Gorgeous.
Yeah, it's funny, the horses there, they're about 3/4 scale, so they're
Oh,
Yeah,
they're not really
yeah,
that
they're
tall.
smaller.
They're kind of short and wide,
babies.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That looks out of this world too. So what's next for you, adventurer Steve Rogers?
Well, I want to go back to Iceland. Guess
Imagine
what?
that.
This January, you said.
Yeah, the Aurora Borealis are something that I've always wanted to see, and they've been very spectacular this year.
So they're going on right, like it's
Yeah.
pretty much the just to be clear. So you went in June, basically perennial sunlight,
Yeah.
and the reverse happens around December, January, when it's like 34, 35 days of just darkness where the sun doesn't
Yeah.
come up, and that's so the Northern Lights are. I mean, that's happening right now, basically.
Yeah,
Like,
it basically happens
right-
all year round. You just can't see it most of the
Okay.
time. So it's much more prevalent in the winter. And the fact that it is dark 24 hours a day makes it a lot easier to see and to photograph.
Yeah.
That would definitely be a different experience for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I can. I don't think the darkness will. I won't go for probably more than a week. I don't think the darkness will get to you. The 24 hours of sunlight will get to you.
Yeah, sleeping you said was hard.
Yeah,
it was not
it's
not
just,
the easiest.
It was, you're so used to your body clock, and you think
Right.
it's pretty accurate. But then in Iceland, when it's like 24 hours a day, sometimes you'll think, "Why am I tired? What is it like 10 o'clock at night?" And you look at your watch, and it's 3:30 in the morning.
Do you get used to it though? Not really.
Imagine after a while you would, but not
Yeah,
not in the time of a single trip.
You do things to kind of help. You take some vitamin E, which apparently helps.
Okay. What about melatonin?
Well, what I ended up doing, I thought was fairly sharp, is a lot of these places in close to Reykjavik, we're kind of overrun by tourists
Okay.
during the day. But since it's like 24 hours a day,
Yeah.
I basically chose to sleep during the daylight hours, and then at night would go to some of these big tourist attractions and be the only person there because
Because
it's
it'd be 2 in the
2 o'clock
morning, even though it looks like 2 p.m.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, quite the amount of stories, and we'll have more from you, I guess. And I know with your pictures that you took them, for your memories and to share the beauty with other people. But some people have been wanting to get your calendars. Is that right?
Yeah, I've sold
Beyond family.
a little over 100 of these so far.
He thought they would just be good Christmas presents for his family.
Well,
Yeah. Oh, the missed opportunity not to put that in the Chatter gift guide. Darn.
Oh. Well, if you want one,
Yeah.
they can message you directly on,
Yeah,
on Facebook.
yeah.
or-
I'm Facebook. I'm on Facebook as Avalon Art,
Okay.
or Facebook.com/Avalon Art Chattanooga,
Okay.
or AvalonArt.com, or SRogers.com.
Okay.
So
Sounds like us.
Lots of
multiple
opportunities.
ways
Yeah.
Okay,
to get in
great.
touch.
So, is there any one message you want people to take away from this? Or
Just go.
Just go.
Just go.
Yeah, I mean, trips like this, because you went to the Yucatan, you went through all the Pacific Northwest, but Iceland specifically is just, it's such an otherworldly, I guess, kind of experience compared to going to Vienna or going to Paris or something, because all those trips have their merit. But this is so fundamentally different than anything else you could get.
Iceland has a little bit of everything. It has a big city. Reykjavik is a very fun city to hang out in.
Smaller than Chattanooga too.
Yeah, roughly. Yeah,
it's not too big. So.
Yeah, and so
a lot of the most fun European little places are like that, though.
Yeah. It's hasn't been totally devastated by tourists. The hotels are starting to pop up everywhere, but there's great little restaurants, great little pubs, great little places
Chili's.
to shop.
No,
no
Chili's yet.
You will see a Papa John's. I don't know why.
Oh, really?
Papa John's.
It's so funny.
And KFC. There's like 3 or 4
in
KFCs.
Puerto Rico, there's tons of Burger Kings.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've got a very classical European city, but then you've got, everything else too.
Yeah. Then you can have waterfalls. You can have forest to hike in. You can go sailing.
Hot springs.
Yeah, hot springs. It has a little bit of everything. So
just the beauty of it, though.
I've been all over this country, like I said, and a few other places, but this has it all in one spot.
In a pretty a spot that you can get it all in about 2 weeks.
Yeah, Iceland will fit inside the state of Georgia.
Yeah.
So it's
because if you wanted to take in all of America if you wanted to see the Rockies and see the Grand Canyon and see the Gulf of Mexico, that would take months. Mm-hmm. But this has it all in such a condensed, convenient package, basically.
It is, yeah. And since there's one road, you just basically get on that road and either go clockwise or counterclockwise. That's
not really any intersections where you can miss your turn or anything. So,
and I recommend counterclockwise.
Oh,
counterclockwise.
I've done both now.
Okay.
Well, there's so many recommendations, and awesome that you're helping other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just go.
If I can just get somebody to take me with them next time.
Me too.
Yeah, that had to be the most surprising thing was, especially after, because we sat down for the interview, coffee table books were there. I was looking at these photos, like, man, this has to be, thousands of dollars. Mm-hmm. And sure, the car rentals were expensive, but $450, you could save. People could save up for that
to get a flight
pretty easily.
Yeah.
And
you can get there cheap.
The fact that I could do this is fantastic.
If you live very simply like I do, when you go to Iceland, you can do 2 weeks for $1,200.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I don't think a lot of people realize that.
Yeah, and
I definitely wouldn't.
Think of what a beach house in Destin or somewhere like that, or Gulf Shores
could be that
cost
for 2 days.
Week. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Very cool. Very
amazing.
cool. So, branch out.
Yeah.
Just go.
You'd rather be in Iceland.
Just go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once you go, you just warn you might be stuck.
Yeah, you looked at a house even, sort of in a speculative sort of way.
I did. I just kind of wanted to see. I knew prices in Reykjavik were really high, but I thought I don't really want to live in Reykjavik. I'd rather live out in the middle of nowhere. So I checked my little town of Seyðisfjörður, and maybe 300 to 400 yards from my little campsite and restaurant and sushi place that I love so much. It was a nice little house. I think it was 1,800 square feet for around $150,000.
Wow.
Right on a fjord.
Nice. That's crazy. Yeah.
You work for that.
Yeah. Let's all move. No.
Yeah, you'd not exactly a yard to mow when you've got the eastern shore of Iceland out in front of you.
It might be a little snowy there. Well, actually, it's not really snowy. Actually, it's warmer here. Warmer in Iceland today than it is here.
Okay.
So having a little heat wave. So
yeah.
Too cold.
If you go to Iceland, you could warm up.
Yeah. You sold me.
Yeah.
I'm like on my way. Where's my credit card?
Yeah, let's go.
TFP.
Yeah.
We need to go. Yeah.
I think somebody needs an in-person story, and I could be your guide.
There you go.
Perfect.
There you go, right there.
I'll go to the darkness, the northern lights.
That would be
Great.
That's definitely something I think that's worth seeing.
I do too. Yeah, perfect. Story done. Gotcha. Well, we could go on and on and on with this and probably all of your travels. But thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing.
You're very welcome.
Yeah, thank you very much. No, it was one of the most fun things I've had the opportunity to write. So I really appreciate sitting down and talking with us. It was great.
I appreciate the inclusion and
pick it up.
Yeah, it's me.
On the cover. Yeah, I love that.
You're a big fan of that pose, I noticed. It was a bit of a recurring theme in
I don't
some of your
know if I showed you, but in college I found an old watercolor from, I think from 1920 of an Indian sitting on top of a horse doing that
Doing
pose.
that pose?
So
Okay.
And it's the Prayer to the Great Spirit, which was the title of it. And so I've always thought that was a good way just to
It's very.
It's like
to bring
very
it all
embrace,
in, you know.
embrace
I
everything.
like to think that it's very Icelandic because the people in the country were so inviting. So just kind of welcome
It's
you
like,
back.
give me
so,
a hug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Taking it all in. Yeah, cool. Okay. Can't say it again. Just go.
Just go.
Okay.
Follow
Give it a
your
shot.
bliss.
Yeah.
And go have a fun weekend too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So see you guys.
Thank you
pick
very
up,
much.
get out, and Chattanooga now. See ya.
Yay.
Thank you.